An obese girl was given to the village idiot. She didn't know he was the richest man in town. They laughed when the decision was made. Not the kind of laughter that feels warm, but the kind that stings and stays with you. A young woman stood in a small town square, her heart pounding, as people whispered about her body, her future, and the man she was being sent to live with. What no one could see that day was how kindness, quietly planted, was about to grow into something that would change every life it touched. Before we begin, if stories like this move your heart, please take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. Your support helps our channel, Heartfelt Moments, share more true-to-life stories about compassion, resilience, and the power of kindness. Now, let me tell you her story. Her name was Clara. She grew up in a rural town where everyone knew everyone else's business, and judgment came quicker than help. Clara had always been a bigger girl. She tried to be invisible, but kindness shone through her in small ways, holding doors, bringing soup to sick neighbors, smiling even when she felt unseen. When Clara's parents passed away within a year of each other, the town council decided what they thought was best for her. They said she needed care and guidance. And so, without much choice, Clara was sent to live with a man the town cruelly called the village idiot. His real name was Thomas. Thomas lived on the edge of town in an old, quiet house. People said he was slow, strange, and useless. Children teased him. Adults ignored him. No one noticed that Thomas paid his bills on time, helped fix broken fences at night, or quietly supported struggling families without ever asking for thanks. When Clara arrived at Thomas's house with one small suitcase, she expected mockery or coldness. Instead, Thomas opened the door, eyes kind and gentle, and simply said, "You must be tired. Come in." The house was clean and warm. Fresh bread sat cooling on the counter. Clara didn't know why, but tears filled her eyes. Living together wasn't easy at first. Clara carried years of shame. Thomas carried years of being misunderstood. They spoke little, but they listened deeply. Thomas never commented on Clara's body. He asked her opinions. He thanked her for cooking dinner. He treated her like she mattered. Slowly, Clara began to feel safe. Every morning, Thomas woke early and left before sunrise. When Clara asked where he went, he smiled and said, "Just work." She assumed it was something small. Maybe janitorial work or helping out at the hardware store. One afternoon, Clara followed him. She watched as Thomas walked into the town's largest office building. The same building people admired but never questioned. Clara stood frozen as employees greeted Thomas with respect. Doors opened. Papers were handed to him. Meetings paused until he arrived. Her heart raced. Later that evening, Clara finally asked, "Thomas, what do you really do?" He sat quietly for a moment before answering. "I own most of the land around here. The farms. The mills. The stores. I don't talk about it. People treat you differently." Clara stared at him, stunned. The man the town mocked was the richest person among them. "But, why let them call you names?" she asked softly. Thomas shrugged. "It's easier to be ignored than used. I learned that kindness doesn't need applause." Clara's chest tightened. For the first time in her life, she felt seen by someone who truly understood pain. As weeks passed, their bond deepened. Clara helped organize Thomas's paperwork, not knowing she had a natural gift for numbers and planning. Thomas encouraged her, telling her she was smart, capable, and worthy. No one had ever said those words to her before. Together, they quietly began helping the town. Medical bills were paid anonymously. Scholarships appeared for kids who never thought they'd leave town. Repairs were made to homes during the night. People praised the miracles without realizing who made them possible. One winter evening, a fire broke out in the town's poorest neighborhood. Clara and Thomas were the first to arrive. They helped families escape. Thomas funded the rebuilding. Clara stayed with the displaced families, comforting children and listening to fears. That night, the town began to see things differently. Whispers changed. Gratitude replaced mockery. At a town meeting months later, the mayor stood and publicly thanked Thomas. He apologized for years of cruelty. Others followed, their voices shaking with regret. Thomas didn't boast. He simply said, "Kindness is not about who deserves it. It's about who needs it." Then he turned to Clara. "Clara showed me that love grows when we choose compassion over judgment." The room fell silent as people realized the truth. The girl they had pitied was strong. The man they mocked was wise. And kindness had been right in front of them all along. Clara's life transformed. Not because of money, but because someone believed in her. She stood taller. She spoke with confidence. She learned that her worth was never defined by her size or by cruel labels. Thomas and Clara eventually married, not out of obligation, but out of love. Their home became a place of warmth and welcome. Laughter replaced loneliness. The town slowly healed. Years later, when asked how everything changed, Clara would smile and say, "Kindness found us when the world turned away." And Thomas would add, "The richest thing we ever shared wasn't money. It was respect." As the sun sets on this story, remember this: kindness has the power to rewrite lives. It sees beyond appearances. It listens when others judge. And it lifts hearts in ways nothing else can. If this story touched you, let it remind you to choose kindness today. A small act, a gentle word, a moment of understanding, these are the things that truly make us rich.